My name is James Walbert. I am from Wichita, Kansas. I am a targeted individual for the gain of intellectual properties. In the year 2004, I was responsible for the very first order of protection issued against illegal tracking technologies, illegal human tracking, as well as any and all energized devices designed to track the human nervous system or affect the human nervous system. My claims have been backed up by famous private investigators, as well as famous toxicologists, congressional member, state representative of the House of Missouri, Jim Guest, as well as congressional member Todd Tiehart. My story has been published in 50,000 magazines and 14 times sold on newsstands. I've had several interviews with State Representative Jim Guest and several congressional members doing radio shows with him, as well as my issue is addressing House bills that are consistent with Alaska Senate Bill 293, Colorado House Bill 1082, Missouri House Bill 550, which has now moved into Missouri House Bill 2041, New Hampshire House Bill 686, North Dakota House Bill J020, Ohio Senate Bill 126, California Senate Bill 362, which now has been made into California Civil Penal Code 52.7, as well as Georgia Senate Bill 235, State of Oklahoma, State of Tennessee, the State of Virginia, the State of Washington, Wisconsin. These House bills address the concerning issue of illegal drugging and implantation of a tracking chip for any reason, to whether an employer would coerce you into taking one or whether somebody was to force you to take one. This issue is very prevalent, obviously. We have now 21 states that have moved to enact laws against this, Senate bills and House bills. They're enacting these laws to address the problem of illegal drugging and chipping and tracking. This seems to be a very prevalent problem in our country today. I work with thousands of victims across the country as well as across the world that are suffering from these instances. My evidence can be backed up by famous private investigator William J. Taylor, as well as Melinda Kidder, State Representative Jim Guest, Congressional Member Todd Tiehart, Dr. Hector Fernandez, as well as the famous Dr. John Hall, and several other famous individuals. You can find my story on the internet, as well as many court cases. Would go back to the year 2009, where I was very successful in proving to the Sedgwick County courts. It would be case 08DM868264. That would be the court docket number for the case. That case addresses technologies that previously that have never been addressed. The case actually has issued a protection order against any and all energized devices designed to track the human nervous system, to disrupt the human nervous system, or to affect the human nervous system. So in essence, I was able to prove that the fictitious weapons that are being claimed about today from other targeted individuals are more than likely a relevant concern. Not only are they relevant, we also have people that are experiencing drugging, tracking, chipping, as well as people being gang-stalked, people breaking into their homes. These are illegal, erroneous acts against us. We're being tried and basically sought out for our personal properties. I became a victim in 2004 with threats of handing over intellectual properties, or that I would simply be discredited from the crime that I'm suffering from by just simply reporting the crime. What my goal is, by addressing any congressional members, is that for these laws to be revised and as well as enacted and enforced. It was our Senate as well as our houses that passed these laws. I'm asking for implementation of these laws, for them to be enforced. These laws, people are reporting these crimes and nothing is being done. These people are being labeled erroneously. They've done nothing wrong. They are simply just reporting the crime as instructed. So upon reporting the crime, a lot of them are stripped of evidence, their homes are broken into, and they're stalked off their jobs. They're usually discredited by any point of relevant matter that has to do with an authoritative figure of any kind. Okay.
Talk to me too, by the way.
Oh, okay. In 2010, I had spoke to the bioethics committee the President Obama had appointed to basically go over illegal, non-ethical medical testings that had been occurring in the United States as well as out of the United States, but that were responsible by the United States. I was flown out to Washington, D.C. I spoke in front of the Bioethics Committee. They were appointed by President Obama. I spoke directly to them for 2 minutes even, and I was able to address several very important issues. I was able to point out if there was no point of concern for these targeted individuals' claims of being illegally drugged and implanted, then why were there 21 states enacting House bills against these particular claims? I found it to be very compelling as well as very concerning. The fact that they were able to just easily dismiss this and is such a state of not caring. I mean, that's basically what we have been seeing. Even the bioethics committees seem to be very empty and very cold-hearted about it. They didn't really seem to address much of the evidence that any of us were presenting. And the evidence that I'm able to present, like I had stated, to reiterate, these are not letters from my next door neighbor. These are letters that have been issued from congressional members, legislative members, famous private investigators. These are medical doctors making these claims. Clinical psychologists are vouching for me. PhD psychologists are also standing up in my corner. I also have several court cases that I've won against the technology. So again, I come up back to the concerning conclusion that are we suffering from government corruption? I mean, are these targeted individuals, including myself, are we victims of non-consensual illegal military testing? And we are just simply being denied any due process, any judicial relief of any kind, as well as any recognition of validity. Anything that we say is simply dismissed. It seems to be pushed aside. So it's a very concerning subject for myself.